Hello guys, welcome to Techpragna. This is Rolly here and I'll be giving you some introduction about MSSQL. MSSQL, which stands for Microsoft SQL. So, why do we exactly need SQL? What is SQL? Any information that you are saving inside a database in a tabular format. Okay? Any interaction that we need to get through a database from a user will use SQL. So SQL is like an interface that will support DBMS. So it's a language that will act as an interface between user and the database. Any queries that we need to pass against the database, any kind of data manipulation we need to do inside the database will be using SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So SQL is a database computer language designed for managing data in RDBMS. RDBMS is Relational Database Management System. So what SQL can exactly do? Right. SQL can execute queries against a database because database and user, the interface is what? SQL. So whatever queries we'll write using SQL command, everything will be understandable by the DBMS, database. Okay? So SQL can retrieve data from a database. Whatever information we have stored inside a database in a tabular format, we can use SQL queries to retrieve that data, to fetch the result. Then SQL can insert records in a database. If we want to insert new records inside a database, we can go for SQL commands. Updating the records in a database, the records which are already existing over there, and we need to make some kind of modification, we can go for update command. Then SQL can also delete the records, the existing records which are there, we can also delete the records. SQL can create new databases, new tables, we can even create stored procedure and views using SQL. So stored procedure as in, if some kind of functionality we want, that will be repeated every single time. Whenever we need that functionality, what we need to do? Just call that stored procedure and we'll get the output. So that is stored procedure. We will be creating stored procedure using SQL commands. We can create views inside a database. We can set permission on tables, procedure or views. Now, there are some subcategories for SQL. Okay, first category is DDL. DDL as in Data Definition Language. Data Definition Language deals with the structure of a table, definition of the table. Now, in a table, column names are there to provide some kind of definition to my table. Right? So, any kind of queries, any kind of commands that is going to be influencing a table structure-wise, definition-wise, DDL will be used. Right? So, create, alter, drop and truncate are the commands which comes under DDL. Create, creation of new database or creation of new tables. Alter, if we want to add new columns or we want to remove some columns from the database, we can go for alter command. Drop as in completely dropping that table from the database. If we don't require it anymore, we can drop it out. Truncate, it will just delete the complete data from the database, but it will retain the structure of the database. Then next category we have is DML, Data Manipulation Language. So data manipulation language as in the data which is stored there inside my table, if with some queries I need to manipulate the data, I'll be using DML. It is dealing with the queries like insert, update and delete. Insert, insertion of new records, update, modification of the existing records and delete, deletion of the records which are not required anymore. This is DML, Data Manipulation Language. Third subcategory is Data Retrieval Language. The data that has been stored inside our DBMS database, we want to fetch those information. We want to get the output from that table. So we'll be using DRL, Data Retrieval Language. It holds select command. Fourth category we have as Data Control Language, DCL. So if as an authorized person I have the control over one table, another person came and I want to share that information, I want to give the access to the other user as well, I'll be granting the permission to the other user who's authorized to use or manipulate the data for my table. Okay, that is granting the access. Grant command will be using. Now, once that person is not authorized anymore to have the access over my table, I can revoke the access, take the access back, so that further changes that unauthorized person is not supposed to make. Right? Then we can go for data control language, which holds the command which are grant and revoke. Fifth, we have transaction control language as the subcategory. Transaction is the set of queries. If we have, let's say, 10 to 15 queries and we want it to affect our database in one shot, we'll be running a single transaction for all these queries. Okay, so as a transaction is executing at the same time, simultaneously multiple changes will be affecting my database. Now, if about some changes I'm very sure that these has to happen, okay, these things I'm very sure about, this changes has to manipulate my data, I will commit those changes. So I'll use commit command for that. Next, if I'm not very sure about the changes which has been made through my transaction, I will roll it back. So that option should be there. For that, we'll be using roll back command. Then save point. Save point command is used to temporarily save a transaction so that we can roll it back to that point whenever necessary. Till the time we wanted those changes to sustain in my databases, I will keep save point. Once it's done, I will just take it back, roll it back. Okay, so that is save point. So these are the subcategories for SQL. That would be all for today. Thank you.